Welcome back to Giants Mania. Today I have a video for you guys of why Daniel Jones can greatly improve in the 2021 NFL season. If you think I left any out or I forgot any, then let me know in the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like and subscribe if you do, and let's get into it. So number one, the offensive line gains a year of experience. Now Nate Solder did not play last year, of course, as we know. The Giants basically had three starters thrown into the fire right away. Well, not right away. I mean, Shane Lemieux kind of got settled in there halfway through the year once Will Hernandez went out with the COVID. But as for Andrew Thomas specifically, he was thrown into the fire at left tackle, which is not easy to do against the Steelers, against the Bears. He played the Rams early on, played some very tough defenses, and that kind of set the tone for the year. He kind of struggled out the gates, as we know, got better as the year went on. He was playing injured too. But Matt Parrott came in there at some points. He was, up and down, had some really good moments, had some rough moments as well. And Shane Lemieux definitely got thrown in there a bit too early, in my opinion. Maybe he turns out better in the future, but he definitely looked overwhelmed at some points. But now those guys enter year two. They have NFL experience under their belt because last year there was no preseason. There was pretty much no NFL action for these guys. They were thrown in there and expected to perform. So I feel like they were kind of overwhelmed last year. This year they now have the experience. They're now a year older, so that definitely can benefit them. Nick Gates enters year three. I mean, technically it's year four, I believe, but I don't think he played back in 2018. So technically year three, year two as a center full time, so that will definitely help him as well. He should be fine. And Will Hernandez, who, once again, I don't think he's that bad. I feel like he might have a bounce back season. He enters a contract year in year number 4. If Will Hernandez can somehow be that guy that we thought we were getting in round 2 a couple years ago or a few years ago, then the Giants offensive line might be okay. So it's a position group for the Giants that has a ton of potential. Now, I am concerned about it because we don't know. They were not so good last year, as we know. It's kind of an unknown. And really the two biggest question marks on this team are Daniel Jones' development and the offensive line's development. Now, let's just say, hypothetically, the offensive line and Daniel Jones greatly improve in 2021. The Giants might be a really good football team. So unless these two position groups, quarterback, offensive line, hold the Giants back, I feel like they'll be really good as a football team, but they are very important position groups. Let's say they struggle, the Giants might struggle as a whole in 2021. So this is a pretty important aspect of it, but the offensive line does gain experience. That's important, and I feel like it's going to be better than it was last year. Number 2, and this may be the biggest one and the most noticeable difference this year, is the improvement at the receiver position, whether it's wide receiver or tight end. Of course, they add Kenny Golladay in free agency, the big contract given out. I personally think he's a top 15 receiver or so in football, one of the best X receivers in football, and he's definitely one of the best red zone options in football. He can win contested catches, make plays downfield. He will definitely help this offense a lot. He'll take some attention away from other guys as well, which people don't talk about too much, but he might open up a guy like Sterling Shepard or Darius Slayton or Kadarius Toney, who's also next on this list. Toney's a guy that can basically be a yards after catch king, kind of what Golden Tate used to be in Seattle, even Detroit. I know people hate the Golden Tate comparison, but I do see some similarities in their game. I'm talking about prime Golden Tate, not the Giants version of Golden Tate, but Kadarius Toney's a very exciting player, has to stay healthy, of course, but if he's out there, this guy knows how to get open. He could be a better route runner, of course, and more refined route runner, but he knows how to get open. He makes plays with the ball in his hands. He will make the quarterback's life easier. I definitely believe that. John Ross can take the top off of defense. And Daniel Jones, while he did not throw the ball downfield all that much last year, when he was doing it, he was one of the more efficient quarterbacks when throwing the ball down the field. So I do believe John Ross could make a few big plays for this team in 2021. And Kyle Rudolph, yes, Kyle Rudolph's a bit older now. He's been in the league for like 10 years, but he was kind of getting faded out of the offense from Minnesota because of Irv Smith Jr. arriving there. He was like a second-round pick, I believe. But Kyle Rudolph, I believe, still has something left in the tank. Maybe he's a signing that does not work out. We'll find out. But the Giants have a pretty good tight end group right now. But if Kyle Rudolph can come in there and be a red zone threat, and a guy that can block in the run game, of course, which doesn't, it's not really a Daniel Jones thing, but still, he can help this team a lot, I feel like. So if he can be a good red zone option where the Giants greatly struggled last year, then Kyle Rudolph will be worth it. You still have Darius Slayton, though, of course. I don't want to say he disappointed last year, but I feel like some fans had that wide receiver 1 type expectation for him, which I thought was crazy, but he's still a solid player, Darius Slayton. I feel like he'll be fine for this team as a wide receiver 3 or 4, probably a 4 if everyone's healthy. Sterling Shepard, your wide receiver 3 most likely, a very solid player. Has to stay on the football field, of course, but a very good possession receiver. And then Evan Engram, who can make plays sometimes. Sometimes he does not. I mean, he has to be more consistent, of course, but Evan Engram, definitely more of a dynamic tight end as compared to most guys. He's built different than most tight ends, so Not the best blocker, as we know, very inconsistent hands, but sometimes he'll make some impressive plays for you. I always think back to that drag catch he had against the Buccaneers and Daniel Jones' first start, actually, where he took it 75 yards for a touchdown. Not many tight ends are doing that, so it gets you excited, but he definitely disappointed a lot last year. But overall, the Giants' weapons from last year to this year, definitely a lot different, and it will definitely help Daniel Jones a lot. Number 3 is year 2 in the same system for Jason Garrett, and if you go back on the list here, I mean, Daniel Jones has not been in the same system for a consecutive amount of years since basically 2019, probably since he was in college, or 18, I should say, when he was with David Cutcliffe at Duke. So Daniel Jones' junior year at Duke, his redshirt junior year, was at Duke with David Cutcliffe, then came in year 1 with the Giants for Pat Shurmur. Of course, he gets fired after 1 year. Then as Jason Garrett in his second year, and now we come into this year with Jason Garrett in year number 3 for Daniel Jones, but his second year with him in a row. So is having Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator a good thing? I don't think so. But is it good to have continuity sometimes? Yes, it is. And I feel like this is a case where maybe it will help him, because if you look at some of Daniel Jones' best games last year, I'm looking at it now, I thought he played well in that last Dallas game. I thought he played well in the Baltimore game, although they didn't really score many points, but I thought he played well individually. The Cincinnati game before he got hurt, he was good. In the Philadelphia game, he played well. So I feel like he played some of his best football towards the end of the season. He might have been getting more comfortable with the Jason Garrett offense. And I feel like Jason Garrett, unless he's completely oblivious to what's going on around here, has to get better. He has to realize like what did and didn't work last year. Jason Garrett's a smart guy, obviously, so went to Princeton, as we know. So I feel like he can catch on to what was working, what was not working last year. Maybe I have too much confidence in that, but I feel like they saw last year what was working, what was not working. So the offense should be better. And I feel like Daniel Jones now in year 2 will master this offense. And I always think back to the Matt Ryan thing. I know it's Kyle Shanahan versus Jason Garrett. It's very different, but when Matt Ryan was in year 2 of Kyle Shanahan's offense, that's when Matt Ryan took off and had almost a 5,000-yard and like 38 touchdown year, won the MVP, Falcons went to the Super Bowl. Not saying that will happen with Daniel Jones, but sometimes in year 2 of an offense, even Aaron Rodgers this year with Matt LaFleur was his second year in this offense, and Aaron Rodgers had the 50-touchdown season, won MVP. So sometimes in year 2, I know I'm talking about Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, some of the better quarterbacks in football, but sometimes in year 2 with the same play caller, you get very comfortable with the offense, you know it like the back of your hand, and I feel like this might be a case of it. And Daniel Jones is a smart kid. He's tough. I feel like this will be a good situation for him continuity-wise. I feel like Jason Garrett, you can do better than him as an offensive play caller, but if he learns from his mistakes and does better and kind of takes out the bad plays last year and puts in more of the good ones, I know it's easy to say, but I feel like they will definitely make a lot of adjustments to the offense in 2021. So maybe that'll help him. I feel like, obviously, there could be a better offensive coordinator, I get that. But having continuity is pretty important in some cases, and Jason Garrett can be an example of it for Daniel Jones next season. And number 4, Saquon Barkley will hopefully return for a full 17-game season. The Giants got basically 1.5 games out of him, 5 quarters basically last year. But hopefully this year he comes back and plays 17 games, plus the playoffs, of course, hopefully. But I do believe that for a young quarterback, a running back's kind of the last thing on importance for his success. I think for a young quarterback, you'd rather have a good receiving core, a good offensive line, a good play caller. I kind of put running back somewhere on the bottom there. But comparing Saquon Barkley to Dion Lewis and Devontae Freeman and Alfred Morris, it is a big difference. And I am a believer that if you put a decent running back in a good situation, they'll succeed. But having that difference in talent between Saquon Barkley and guys the Giants are picking up off the street will be very much different for their offense. So I think having Saquon Barkley compared to those guys will be a big help for this Giants offense. Wayne Gallman, I liked him, of course, but he's not Saquon Barkley. He's not even close. I mean, he got 147 carries last year. Alfred Morris, who's not even in the same neighborhood as Saquon Barkley, got 55. Devontae Freeman, I mean, he looked okay last year at some points, got the ankle injury, didn't really look the same after that, but 54 carries, and Dion Lewis got 29, played some third downs as well. So getting Saquon Barkley back, and even adding Devontae Booker, who is not the most talented guy in the world, but he's solid, he's okay for a backup running back. Adding those guys will definitely help this team run the ball more efficiently, hopefully. Now, it all comes down to the offensive line. We've seen it before. Even in Saquon's second year in that Jets game, I remember he had 12 carries for 13 yards. It comes down to how the offensive line blocks. If there's no holes in front of these running backs, they're not going to have much success. But if the Giants' offensive line can open holes and have Saquon Barkley running the ball for 4.5, 5 yards a clip, it will make Daniel Jones' life easier, open up play action, rollouts, all those type of things. So having Saquon Barkley back and healthy can only help Daniel Jones. Now, Saquon had that rookie season of like 93 catches or whatever it was. That was back with Eli, of course. But Daniel Jones at some points was getting better at dumping the ball off when he had nowhere to go to. So I feel like, I know he missed a few games in his second year, Barkley, but he had a lot less catches in year 2 as compared to year 1. So a lot of the offense with Pat Shurmur in 2018 was designed to go through Saquon Barkley, of course, but that was with Eli Manning. So we have to see, can Daniel Jones check the ball down to Saquon, get him more involved? And I feel like Saquon, obviously in space, can make guys miss. Like when you get Saquon the ball in the flat versus a linebacker, we see him stiff arm guys, spin moves, all these crazy things. I remember that play in Detroit back in 2019, I think it was, where he did a spin move, put a guy in the ground, got the first down, I think. So he will do some crazy things for you. So having Saquon compared to backup running backs and guys off the street will do wonders for this team, hopefully. So Saquon has to stay healthy. Same thing with, Golladay and Tony. There's a lot of health concerns on this offense, of course. But if they do stay healthy, then this offense can hopefully do some nice things. So that is it. Those are my 4 reasons why Daniel Jones can greatly improve in 2021. Once again, leave in the comments if you think I forgot any. I probably did. But I feel like these are pretty important ones. I feel like if I had to list them, importance-wise, I think the offensive line has to get good. That's number 1. Number 2 is the receivers. And, for Jason Garrett and Saquon Barkley, I feel like Jason Garrett's probably more important, honestly. So I will say it's probably the way I listed it, honestly. It's probably the exact way. So I don't know if I did that on purpose or not. But for a list of importance, I feel like, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's pretty much how I got it. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like and subscribe once again if you enjoyed. And I'll talk to you guys next time.